Make $1 million cash for you flatline. Make a master plan, watch it backfire. Burn it all down and collect the ashes. Build it back, respect your passion. Witness to some shit that you shouldn't see. Whisper to yourself what you wouldn't be.
Yo, who went first? Oh, it was this young dude. This young dude from Denver.
You know I had to set it off. Set it off in the. No,
that's what you did? Nah, you was cold.
I did my Dougie, man. We came. We did our Dougie, man. It was cool.
I never seen you as a host. That was different. Usually you headline.
I personally think I did way better in Brooklyn and in Denver.
How so? What do you think? Because of the.
I think that was my first time hosting the Brooklyn one.
That was your first time hosting?
That was my first time hosting, yeah.
You did a great job in Brooklyn. To me, tonight though, it was clean. Like it was the perfect host setup. Because when we were in Brooklyn, it was more like that was more like Philmon and Friends.
Yeah.
That was Phil and Friends. So you supposed to host, but you also supposed to do a lot more time.
Yeah, that is
so
the vibe.
You do time in between. But here, this was a professional host job.
That's what's up.
Like you got up, said hi, you know what I mean, did what you need to do, but then you hit a couple of jokes that, all right, y'all warming up, then you brought up Roger. So the way you hosted tonight is how a comedy club hosts. The way you hosted in Brooklyn was the way you're supposed to host when it's your show with your friends.
Yeah.
So either way it works.
That's what the Denver one felt like too. It was my birthday show, so that's kind of the vibe they gave too.
But see, we worked together. This is my third time working with you, but the first time you were my feature.
Yeah.
And so that was more fun to me because I got to see more of your material.
And I don't think we've ever seen each other's like material on stage, like stand-up wise. That Dallas one.
That was the first time I ever saw you do a set. And what's cool is because of the way you work and the way I work, we could have the same audience. They're gonna get two different shows. It's not. Sometimes if you get like a theme show, it's like, oh, these are all Asian comics, or these are all whatever comics. A lot of the material starts to sound very similar with just a little different. This is not that. You know what I mean? Yeah, you get two Habesha comics, but that's not the same type of thing.
It's not. Even if we do have the same.
I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time, but I really want to figure out the tour and find it, because I think there's some places where we should be doing 300-400.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
because I don't think we have the same fans.
How many comics would you guys take on that kind of tour? Would it just be you two, and then whatever you guys could pick up locally?
Multiple ways. I think there's a version of it where it's just for simple reasons. What I said about you on stage tonight, I meant that. Like there's an iconic part about you.
You gave us flowers.
Hey, that was dope,
man.
bro.
But the problem I think we have sometimes is you can get right in the middle of what you're doing and you don't realize what you're doing because you're doing it. You're not looking around. You're not thinking about the accolades. Like when somebody walks up to me after the show and is like, "Yo, we loved you on this show," I'm like, damn, I forgot I did that show.
Yeah.
So for you, it's like, yo, you don't know this, but a lot of those kids that are doing stand-up now or doing sketches on Instagram, the Habesha kid, it's because of you.
Yeah.
Jonas, you inspired him. He's inspiring another generation.
For sure.
I was doing stand-up. I didn't want to do sketches. I was mad. Then I saw yo. I was like, yo, I never seen this.
Yeah. I knew how to do stand-up just because I know these sketches can only take me so far, but once people start hitting me up on something like, hey man, do you stand-up? I'm like,
There's no real way at that time early on for you to monetize sketches off of Instagram. But again, I know this is about the show tonight, but I want you, like, you being on TV, on like Sherman Showcase.
Yeah. That's really my shit. That's
bro.
Really
That's not small.
No, it's
and
not.
That's happening because you know there's the Habesha chick that's on Southside. That's their people too. There's a Habesha sister on Southside, Amelia, on Southside, who also is peoples with Diallo and Brashear.
So I got hooked up she's a realtor in LA, and she's real close friends with Diallo.
You see what I mean?
And that was crazy. She's like, I don't really know this guy personally. She's talking about me. She goes, but there's a guy that almost everyone in the house, like every Habesha household knows, and I think he'd be perfect for what you're looking for.
And was.
She shot on my Instagram. He was like, this
Matter
is
of fact,
exactly what I
the
want.
woman I'm talking about was in the sketch with you. She was in the scene with you. She was on Southside.
That's her cousin. That's her little cousin.
See what I mean?
That's crazy.
See how small the world is?
That's crazy.
So the number of people that you've inspired to do sketches, to do stand-up, to act, because again, like you said, it's not my family's first choice. It's nobody's family's
Yeah,
first
not at
choice.
all.
No
Hell no.
immigrant family comes over and is like, oh, I can't wait for my kid to do Instagram sketches.
That was a big impact growing up. We must have watched that video like a million times and showed our parents.
Because once they see it, they're like, oh, so he's successful doing it.
Yeah.
It's a kid out in Alamayo in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, I showed my mother you on TV, and she's like, okay, you can do stand-up.
My homie Paulie, his dad hopped to him. He mimics him every day, right?
Oh my God.
And this guy, like, he's a fan of him. The dad is a fan of him. I remember the first time he watched it, he cried, right? And then as soon as he cried laughing and all that, then he got mad. He said, how dare make fun of me?
So that's the funny part about working with you is when it's the kids, when it's young people, no problem.
Yeah.
But when we did Dallas,
Yeah.
the audience was from like 22 to 70. There was a bunch of uncles back at the bar.
Yeah.
And when I remember before the show, you were like, yeah, they're gonna be fine. But the uncles at the bar,
Yeah,
they hate me.
Bro.
Oh, is that kind of the reception you've been getting?
But it's
The
mostly
dads
because,
usually hate me, but like you said,
but that show,
totally different. Like they
it was a
respected the
different
hell out
vibe.
of it,
They
bro.
were like, nah, I get it now. And a lot of them is because their kids have shown them videos of you. Again,
Yep.
I don't even think you fake humble, because there's a lot of dudes like, yeah, nah, I appreciate that, dog. But I don't know that you know the impact that you had on the community as far as entertainment.
What I do respect is the fact that there's Habesha comedians now, bro. Because all my
That's a
shows,
lot of us.
bro.
They're popping up every day on IG.
Bro,
popping
I'm
up.
so
I mean,
happy,
like-
bro. I actually got a Habesha comedian performing before me or at these shows. Like, all my openers were rap artists, bro.
Right.
Like, you literally got rap artists performing music before my show, and then now I gotta train the ears
Right,
of the
you
audience
turned
to
them
be
up.
quiet. Yeah,
Right.
I turned them up. They, come on, man. So,
And look, I get it. We trying to give you an experience, but at the end of the day, a comedy show is a special thing. It's a
is.
balance.
It is, bro.
And when we saw tonight, like it's exactly that. You came in, you set the tone. Roger came in, it's a change of pace, and then I come up and I do what I need to
Yep.
do. I'm a cleanup hitter.
Yep, for sure.
If the first guy that comes up does cartwheels, and then I come up and I'm shooting baskets, they're like, yo, what are we watching?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, the cartwheels were good, but
Yeah.
this is a basketball game.
Nah.
Why are we watching cartwheels?
Now, it was a good combo, bro. Like you said, we're 3 shows in now.
Yeah.
I think the Brooklyn was
Brooklyn
a
was
hitter.
crazy.
And even
What were the other two?
the
Dallas
first one
and
was
here.
Dallas, and this most recent one.
I was supposed to do
today.
Denver with him, but
Yeah.
What was the third one?
I had a family situation in
Denver.
so I
Had a
didn't
birthday
make
show
it out there. It
last
was his
year?
birthday.
No, that was
his
no.
birthday. Oh, you know what?
Wow.
Every time we've tried to do Denver, we
Yeah,
were
it's the
supposed to
second
do
one.
Denver
We
twice.
came.
Yeah, they came for the actual show,
Me
bro.
and Bees came down to that
Yep.
just for that show. Like,
And that was yeah.
And
So
Yep.
But that was
that's years now.
2 years.
We've really been trying to work through. Because we even before that, that's what made me. That was a special show.
Yeah.
Because the club in Denver, and I see this everywhere. I'm a club comic, so I can get access to places that you might not get.
Yeah. And I'm trying to stay away from like all the hookah bar
Yeah.
comedy shows. Like, I'm slowly trying to.
But here's the thing. You can eat there,
Yeah.
and you have control there. When you go to the comedy clubs, you give up the control.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a certain amount of, I think, like people think it's more valid if you do it in a comedy club. Oh, Patrice O'Neal's on the wall. You know what I mean? Eddie Murphy's pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
So
These are legendary spots.
These are
for sure.
legendary spots, right? But at the end of the day, what do you do comedy for?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like you're trying to make people laugh, and if you have your own audience and you can control where we are, you can control the environment, you can control the mood, the vibe. What we did in Dallas, it's the soccer tournament. We did a show for the soccer tournament that packed out a restaurant. Everybody in the restaurant ate. They
On a
made money.
Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
Sold out. No room. Standing room only at the bar. They made money. We had a good time. We made money. and we set the tournament off right. This was you know how the tournament doesn't really start until Thursday, Friday. The real parties start popping Thursday. We had so many people at the restaurant that day, they were able to do after parties that night. And start the jam off Wednesday.
Yep.
So there's something that we do that's different, and a lot of it is because they trust you. If you show up, they know the show is going to be good. And
I appreciate the flowers, brother,
Yeah.
but I mean, don't get it twisted, man. Like, I learned a lot from you too, though.
No, I'm cold. I'm funny though. Listen, I'm not being humble when I'm giving you your flowers. You deserve them. You earned them. But let's keep it a rack. I'm funny. Like I'm flat out. Like these niggas stood up when I finished telling jokes. Let's keep it a buck,
Bro, you're
do it.
standing O. Bro, your adjustments, the audibles to the jokes,
Appreciate
the
it,
fairy
bro.
punchline, just all of that.
It's not even just how much shot people he makes laugh either, bro.
Nah.
Like, you seen the audience today, man. You guys were all there, like, white people there, Mexican people, Asian people, like, black. There's all kind of people out
Bro,
there.
he said, I thought white people kill white people. He said, I thought that shit too.
We
He
can't
said
even.
it-
We
he said
can't
the
even.
glue.
I don't want to tell. All right, we gotta tell him now, man. You might as well tell him now. That shit was hilarious, bro.
That killed me, bro. I was howling in
The
back.
point of that joke, I've been telling that joke in different versions for years. But the point of that joke is you can laugh at anything. Like, nobody even takes that part. They start going about, well, the statistic is this, or let's talk about the
It got real
context, or
serious.
why do black people do? Nah. The point of this joke is people are like, there's certain subjects that are just off limits. I'm talking about black people killing black people and we still laughing because the joke is crafted right. It's a well-crafted joke. That joke starts off with me trying to fuck my wife. Nobody even catches that that's all one joke.
Bro, it had me nervous. The punch, the setup, it had me nervous.
Oh, yeah.
I said, every time I was like, bro, he gonna lose the crowd right here. and then you
then
like
I get him,
flipping
you like,
back, and I'd be
yeah.
like,
He is a
you
magician.
skirt on life and death with your jokes. I'd be like, it's too tripping. But they received it well, and you made it like relatable to them, whether it be the fairy or whatever, however you did it. Like, it was like they felt comfortable to laugh.
You know what makes that?
Hella random. Do you have any crazy bomb stories?
Yeah. I bombed in Harlem one time so bad I walked. Like, I took a bus to a show, and the bus took 20 minutes.
Okay.
I bombed so bad I walked back to my apartment. You understand me? I walked all the way from like 12.
Deserve a bus.
Nah, I don't
Bus
deserve.
ride
Right, I
back.
don't deserve. It's a cold night. I deserve to be uncomfortable.
Was it the jokes didn't hit because of the crowd, or the jokes weren't
I
good?
think it was a
Sometimes-
combination of.
You never know sometimes.
It was a Tuesday night. It's $2 Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And it was at a bar, so everybody is in there. They only pay $2 to get in, so there's not a commitment. And I always tell people, like, yo, your show, you have to charge them what you're worth.
Yeah.
If you charge them $2, they think the show is a $2 show. If you charge them $20, it's a $20 show. If it's $50, it's a $50 show. If they're willing to pay it. But that's how you find out what you're worth. But if you pay $2 and I come into your show, I don't give a fuck about you. I don't care. I'm not paying attention. I'm not into it. And I remember a dude walked in. I had just started. I hadn't even really got good into the jokes. And the dude walked in and just went, boo! He hadn't heard me. He paid his $2, looked at the stage and started heckling. And I was like,
You get on him, or you just ran
I
with the
gave him a
skit?
couple of lines and then he walked on stage and security didn't move at first. So I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to hit. This is like long before Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Yeah.
So I see him walk on stage and my man Baba Feeney, it was his show, I think. And I wasn't closing, but I wasn't opening either. So we deep into the show.
Yeah.
So when someone walks in and starts walking on stage, that's what saved me. As he got closer to the stage, I saw that his Thames was single sold. And I was like, nigga, you don't get to boo with construction Thames. Like, them not constructs. Those are construction. You're a construct. That's why you're sad. You just got off work, nigga.
You mad.
My bad. I'm sorry, brother. Hey, man, somebody buy this man a drink. I know you got $2. You should have $2, you construction working ass nigga. Where you get a Carhartt jumper from, nigga? That's just... And then the crowd kind of relaxed, but it still was like, it was hard for me to get them back. Like, once I got off him, they didn't want to hear jokes no more. They want to hear roast him or we're not listening. And as a comic, I'm like, I don't fucking want to do crowd work. I don't want to deal with him anymore. We already dealt with him. He sat back down. We're done. Let me go back and tell you this joke about my daughter. And they're like, nah, nigga. Tell me more about this nigga's shoes. I want to hear
They
about
just
his
stared
shoes.
you down type shit?
Yeah.
That crowd work, bro. That's what motherfuckers like right now,
They like
bro.
that crowd work. And for me, it's like, yo, imagine you were Picasso and somebody asked you to do caricatures. I'm not comparing myself to Picasso, but I'm saying, for me, comedy is art.
Yeah.
Like, I know people are like, oh, that's pretentious. Sure, okay. But there's different levels to what you do, right? Like Michael Jordan plays basketball like it's art. LeBron plays basketball like it's art. Sure, it's a bunch of players in the league. It's 500 plus players in the league, but it's only a few artists. It's only a few dudes who, you know what I mean? Kyrie Irving is an artist.
That's real, for sure.
There's a bunch of point guards, but Kyrie Irving is an artist.
He's
When I
built
watch Drew
different.
Holiday D somebody up, he's an artist. He knows where you're going before you do.
Yep.
He can make you go where he wants. That's art.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing my art and you want me to start doing fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Paint by numbers and
And
shit.
one mixtape. No offense to that, but
Right.
still.
No,
yeah.
that's a different kind of skill,
Yep.
but it's not this. And so yeah, it was like and I'm stubborn. So when you try to make me go in a direction, I'm gonna keep trying to do this. I'm gonna make it happen. And it took me some years. Eventually, all of the stuff that you saying that I did well, I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to make that joke work everywhere. It didn't work everywhere. Sometimes it only worked in black rooms. Sometimes it only worked in all white rooms where black people were like, yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. We know black people kill black people and we know why. This doesn't work for us.
Yeah. You're not teaching them the
I'm not
lesson
teaching
that's
them.
needed.
And that's why
Yeah.
that joke has so many parts. It starts with me and my wife not having time alone. It's 3 different jokes into one joke
Yeah.
that no one knows it's a different joke until afterwards. They're like, wait a minute, this joke started out with him needing some time alone with his wife. You got to laugh at that. You got to laugh at me being naked. You got to laugh at the DMX part. You got to laugh at the cheese part. You laugh at the wheat. All of this happens before I even said anything about black on black crime.
Yeah. I thought it was the wrap up, and I was like, he gonna wrap it up like this? This is crazy.
Nah, the 50% shit had me dying, bro.
That's
You
correct.
set that up.
Every
He's like,
time.
hold on, man. He said, did the math. He said, it's the 2 of us.
50%
Oh,
of
that
2.
bitch is a killer.
And the crazy part is I can end the joke right there.
Nah,
I can
you-
stop right there. That's a good
Yeah.
punchline. If it's a short set, sometimes I will. If I'm only doing like 10 minutes, I'll end that joke right there. And it still gets a big laugh. I can end the joke. It's so many different ways. Like, if you write a joke well, you can stop at any point where there's multiple punchlines. That joke has like 4 different punchlines and a bunch of tags in it. So it didn't at first. It had one punchline and it was a long story. Make it funny. If your setup is funny, you got them laughing before you even get to the punchline.
Yep.
If your premise is funny, you can make them laugh before you even get into the joke. Like, yo, you ever
That's just like boxing. Jab, jab, set up the
jab,
fucking...
jab, set right? And if your jab, like you, Larry Holmes had a jab that could put you back.
Yep.
It's guys that got strong enough jabs to knock you out. So that means your setup knocked me out.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what your cross was going to do. I
for
don't want to
real.
know what the
I
overhand
don't
right
wanna
was
see
going to
that,
do. I couldn't take the
haymaker.
jab.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have knockout power from my jab to my cross, my hook. I want to be able to knock you out with both hands in every punch. And that's what comedy is to me. It's like I'm training, I'm watching the audience, I'm seeing how they lean. I'm seeing what they move on. And and the more experience you get, every time you do a show, look at the crowd's faces. Look at how they react to certain parts. Does this joke work here but not here? Did it work? You got the same type of crowd, but it worked over here and not on this same type of crowd?
That's happened a couple of times. Same crowd.
Record
like,
it.
What the fuck just happened?
Record it and see if you said anything in a different order. Or maybe you took one word out. Sometimes it's as simple as one word.
You're right.
Or one time I said I flipped, and another time I said I fucked up, and they laughed at the fucked up. And I'm like, what was different? Because it meant the same thing.
Yeah.
Or I kicked them in the face, or I punted. There's a difference. Kicked made them laugh. Hard K sound makes people laugh more than a p sound. That's
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah.
It's that hard.
Yeah.
And so you start, every time you do a show, you pick up something new. You learn something different. When I say white people do blah, 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 you wondering. The first time I said that we're not trying to kill you, move out the way. I'm trying to kill Tyrone behind you.
Yeah.
The white people laughed and the black people like, hey, hey, hey.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm kidding. I wouldn't kill Tyrone. My da-da-da-da-da. Or don't clutch your purse. You're not strong enough to keep me from taking it. Like, it's a bunch of tags to these jokes. I can look at the crowd and call it audible.
Yeah.
If this crowd is laughing at this type of stuff, I'm going to keep going in that direction. They laughing
And
here.
sometimes you know your shit, because I seen you be like, man, that joke was funny. You niggas is tripping.
That joke is hilarious. Right.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
Listen, that trans joke, That joke is dangerous because some people hear trans and immediately they get
Especially
tight.
now, bro.
Especially now.
Here in
Especially
the Northwest, they're hella liberal too. So
hella liberal. So you start saying something about trans people, people are like, what are you saying? But if you hear the joke,
Yeah, let me finish.
oh, all right. And that's what happened. I told the joke and they were like, I like what you think. Yeah, that joke was hilarious. Fuck you mean?
I remember this guy Chappelle came out here. He did some disrespectful. He said, I know the media wants to know how I'm gonna react to the trans or whatever. And then, I ain't gonna say it, but he tweaked on him. And it was bad.
It's weird because it feels like, to me with Chappelle, he's trying to see exactly how much he can get away with and still be
I don't think
valid.
there's a limit. I don't think there's a
I
limit.
don't think there's a limit. There's no boundaries with him, bro.
He's bulletproof.
He can't get canceled, in my opinion. I've
And
seen a lot of
that's
his.
the thing.
He already
that I
went
think-
crazy.
I wish
A
people would
lot of
stop
other-
talking about cancel culture because it only applies to people
Yeah, I don't-
who have careers that aren't strong.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. couldn't be canceled. We talked about it on the way in, right?
Yeah.
Louis C.K. is, but he's not doing da-da-da-da. Yeah, but he's still selling out. He's still going to clubs. He's still selling out, but it's not as much as it used to be. No one is doing what they used to do. I used to sell drugs. It's not the same money. You know what I mean? Did I get canceled as a drug dealer? No, I got arrested. That's worse. But Chappelle can't get canceled because Chappelle is an entity. He doesn't require the industry. You can only be canceled if you need the industry to live. Chappelle has no internet presence. He has no social media presence. No. He doesn't need your club. He's got his own club. Chappelle has a club in his hometown that he can go to anytime he wants to and sell it out. He barely even has to leave home to make money. And when he decides he wants
does
to
it
go
on
on
his
tour,
farm, huh?
he
Yeah,
can
that
still go
farm
on
he
tour.
did too. I was gonna say that. He just did it on the farm. Just a random ass show.
Random
Motherfucker
ass show, sold out, people pulled up.
didn't even know he was having a show. He did like a week prior. Just, hey, I'm having a show.
And he can still go on the road. And that's the other thing, like there are venues. If you're a big enough star, people protesting is not going to make the venue stop housing you, because if they could still get 1,500 people to pull up on you, or 3,500 people to pull up on you, or 5,000 people to pull up on you, then the protesters don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's still a country that's about money.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's still a few venues, where they'll be like, yeah, we don't, this disagrees with our morals, our values. But I wish America would stop being dishonest. Like, trans people will still, because of power dynamics, right?
Yeah.
There's not like the majority of America is going, I defend trans rights. That's dishonest.
Yeah.
We got to stop pretending like this is like the super liberal country. Yeah. We just elected a dude for president who basically tried a coup in 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How liberal is this country that they would rather reelect him than reelect the black woman? How liberal is this country? Because their policies but it's because of Israel. Word? You think Trump's gonna be he's gonna be harder on Israel than she was? Mm-hmm. No, this isn't a super liberal country. It is a very polarized country. There are liberals here in spots, like Seattle is super liberal and progressive, Portland is super liberal and progressive, Chicago, New York, LA. But once you get outside of that, even in Washington State, get outside of Seattle and Tacoma, it's a whole lot of red stuff out there. It's a whole, you know what I mean? It's a lot of Trump counties outside of Seattle.
Facts.
It's a lot of Trump counties outside of Los Angeles.
I just couldn't see the first woman president be black at that too. I'm like,
If we
America
keep
ain't
it a
ready for that,
rat,
bro.
that was my thing. I was like, they didn't elect the white lady. You think you're gonna elect the
I was
black
like,
Indian
come on,
lady?
bro. I like,
You ever think of, when it comes to politics like that, let's say she does become president, okay. And America is hella progressive, and they let her lead and they let the woman lead, right? You think when she goes to Arab nations or Arab whatever, they're not gonna address a woman just to religious belief or whatever. You think so?
You know why I say that?
Why?
Pakistan's had a woman prime minister. The number of countries that have had women prime ministers, Mexico has a woman president right now. Yeah. The number of countries that have had Mexican or women presidents, what's her name? Merkel, Germany. Mm-hmm. They respect her. Mostly because women are othered in that way if they're leaders, right? They might disrespect their women.
Yeah.
They might disrespect their women at home.
Yeah.
But she's a general. She's a boss. This is a Western country. We can't treat her like that. We need that country.
Oh, so they
to
make
respect.
exceptions.
They're gonna make exceptions, and we do that here, right? There are men who respect every woman in their family, but no women outside of their families.
Got a point.
You'll be like, yo, da 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 da. What would you say to your mother? She's not my mother. This woman isn't my mother. I respect my mother. I respect my cousins, my sisters, my da 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 da. But these females over here, no. And that's the same way. You other people when you want to, and it's because I think inherently you understand the equality of humanity.
Yeah.
But it's peer pressure, right? Like it's peer pressure. If all your boys hate women, you at least hate women when you're around your boys.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's the cowardice of manhood.
Yeah.
If you deep down in your heart really respect women, but you talk shit about them when you with a group of dudes, you're a coward. Because you're more afraid of how you look to men than how you feel inside. You know when you walk off that shit hurts. Like, I hope no women hear that.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? It takes courage at this point now to people, oh, you a simp. Yeah, it takes courage now to say women are blah, 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 blah.
Facts.
Because if you do it in a room full of dudes, it's 10 dudes who are gonna tell you how these hoes don't have this, or women don't know how to be accountable. These new women are different.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 80s. They were smoking crack and sucking dick. Let's stop pretending that these women are somehow horrible because they twerk.
Yeah.
Women in the 80s was doing crazy shit. Women in the 70s, bro, teen pregnancy is on the decline. So if women were nastier now than they were back in the day, why was all these 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, you know what I mean? They was having babies. There was a song called Babies Keep Having Babies in the 80s. Who was that about? Women in the future? No, nigga, that was right now.
Yeah.
So this idea that things were considerably better back then and children were better behaved and da-da-da-da, that's bullshit. The reality is women are no less capable. Men know it inherently, but we don't want to accept it, so we don't say it. Women be on their period. Okay, well, every war that's been started was started by men. So, you know what I mean? Like, you think that the orange-haired dude is stable? You think that the Somalis who were getting bombed when Obama was president were like, ooh, I'm glad it's a man. No.
Yeah.
We're being dishonest when we pretend that the issue is that she's a woman. So, I mean, I don't know that we'll ever have one in my lifetime, but I also didn't know that we would ever have a black president in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I literally grew up in this country laughing like, Obama running? This nigga wildin'. This nigga, who, Shirley Chisholm too? This nigga not gonna win?
2 terms, man.
Yeah, listen, I saw Jesse Jackson run, and Jesse Jackson got 7 million votes, and we applauded. We were so excited for you got 7 million votes. Good job, Jesse. We didn't want him to win. We didn't think he could win.
Yeah.
We just were happy to, nigga ran.
Yeah.
Al Sharpton won, and he ran, I only think he won like 250, 300,000 votes. So that's what we had prior to Obama. You had Shirley Chisholm, you had Jesse Jackson, and you had Al Sharpton. There's nothing in our history to suggest a black man could win.
There's actually a black woman trying to run for president in the 80s.
We had nothing that suggested a black person could win.
Yeah, this was a fighting chance to actually win, yeah.
Obama got close. We saw him in debates and we went, this is a good talking nigga here.
For real. I think it was
It's this.
And,
because you see them all doing this now. Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania sounds like Obama. If
His
Obama,
cadence.
his cadence, he does the hand. He says it exactly. Everything he does is very similar. He just doesn't do the long pauses, but he does the shorter pause. And if you've heard him, Josh Shapiro is slightly lighter skinned Barack Obama. Only slightly lighter skinned because he's a half and half.
Man, it was dope. Hopefully enjoy Seattle. Having you was
Love
an
Seattle.
honor.
I gotta come back.
Bro, we didn't even have no teriyaki.
My nigga.
Oh
came in
my God, bro.
He came for 6 hours. There was
Bro,
nothing we could do.
Felonious, you fucked up, bro. You ain't have no inject out here. I
Yo,
really
I
thought we
want-
were gonna have teriyaki.
Listen, New York, I want you to understand how much I gave up to be in New York early tomorrow. I got no Habesha food, no teriyaki. I didn't move around. I didn't even touch. I didn't get to Seattle until, what time is it now? Like 10:30, 11. I didn't see Seattle proper until.
Bro, I had
You
the
got here
restaurant
5 hours ago.
I had the restaurant on speed dial. I told him, I was like, man, I got my mans. He's coming. Man, we booked
was like, yo, what's
everything.
the open
We gotta
late?
let the audience know. This man showed up almost 4 or 5 hours ago. 5, maybe 6 hours ago. In between those 5 or 6 hours, this guy landed. We did our show, took photos with the audience, shot straight here to this podcast. You had no time for teriyaki or fucking that's
Nah.
Yeah, you gotta give a day in Seattle.
I
One full
got to
day.
get at least a day in Seattle.
Yeah.
But also, in that little bit of time, I was treated more like family than, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'll go to cities and stay a whole weekend and won't get this type of
I
hospitality.
say it all
So,
the time, bro.
I,
Seattle
mean, I got a
crazy
crazy everything. You
hospitality.
see that? I got a jacket.
We got
You get a
jackets,
jacket?
whips, and cuts,
Got
man.
jacket.
Shout out to the podcast. Shout
I
out to my
thought the
guy
C was for
Fasil.
chains, but I was like,
Buisness.
is this a BDSM podcast?
I'm not getting this shit back to you afterwards either. This ain't no front for the cameras. He really gave this shit to
Oh,
us.
son, I'm gonna be honest. He said you had to sign a waiver. You got to get that.
No, I'm getting you back. Nope.
Nah, I got y'all. Real shit though, I got y'all. Sweaters, hoodies, y'all taking care of. It's good.
My
Listen,
guy,
listen.
I appreciate you
man.
guys coming out,
Absolutely,
man.
man. I
Yep.
appreciate y'all having me.